Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be using some of the new Dina Wakley releases and playing around in my little 6x6 journal. So I'm starting off with stamping some of Dina's, I think they're a 2020 release actually, of her windows, because I knew I wanted to do a page with these windows in it. And I tend to, when I'm doing things like this, if I'm stamping out something, if I've got the whole sheet there, I'll just stamp out the whole sheet at once. It means that, you know, I've got images I can play around with, and those words always come in handy. So having them stamped onto some card is just something that I like to have sort of sitting around. So when you've got an opportunity to sort of stamp some things out, it's always good. So I'm starting off getting myself kind of organized and finding out what stencils I want to use and so on. Pulling out some of my old favorites, so you can see the stars there, some writing, the big circles. Wasn't sure what I was going to use, was just playing around. So I started off with the Tangelo, which is the new orange, and just sprayed it across. So you can see it's a beautiful, it's a really rich orange color. It's darker than the tangerine, which you can kind of see on the other page. So it's sort of a nice in-between colour, and obviously it's more red orange than cheddar, which is obviously much more yellow. So once I've done that, then I'm going to get some of the magenta and use the variegated cross over the top of that. So I knew in the background I wanted to use some warm colours that work together, and basically, because this is the first time with me playing with these sprays, I wanted to kind of work out what colours went with it, what colours didn't, to see what I was doing. So this is a new reddish colour, reddish pink colour called Rouge, which again is a really beautiful colour. I think this is going to fast become one of my favourites. It's an in-between ruby and fuchsia. So you get that beautiful sort of pinky red colour. Now, this is where the wheels fell off a little bit for me, because I wanted to have that yellow really stand up against the red. However, I am not a very patient art journaler. When I make art journal pages, I do them all at once. It's just the way I work. I've got small kids, and when they go to bed, I just do my art journaling. I should really have left this to dry, probably overnight really, so it was really, really dry. When you saturate your page like I've done here, obviously it's going to stay wet for quite a while. So what you're seeing happening is, unless I really, really saturate the page, which I'm kind of doing with that blue, it's just going to sink back into the background, which the blue and the pink, which I found by doing this, made a beautiful purple colour. So, you know, it wasn't a mistake. I found something out about this, but I did actually really want that contrast with that really bright blue over the top. So that would have worked if I was patient and had let that top bit of that ink really, really dry. So do as I say, not as I do. If you want that contrast. I decided I'd add a little bit of brightness up by sprinkling some white ink over the top, just to again add a little bit of a splatter effect. I also had this idea that I was going to sort of stick a figure in this page some way or somehow. So these are the new figure shapes from the Dina Wakley Collage tissue. She released in the April release. There's so many releases recently that it's they're all kind of blending into each other. So I really like sort of that figure that she's sort of looking over these windows coming out. So I'm just using some regular glue to glue these down, and then I'll use some matte gel medium once I find it. It went missing for a little bit, to glue down my tissue paper so it goes translucent, which again means that I'll be able to see all the stuff coming through from the background. That's one of the reasons I really love the collage tissues, is because, you know, you can stick it over something but you're not losing out on anything. I can see those crosses, I can see that colour coming through from below, which I really, really love. So once I've got this all dried off, then I'm going to go back in and add a little bit of detail with a Stabilo oil pencil after I've trimmed off my paper. The Stabilo Oil pencil I found though was absolutely tiny. It wasn't very sharp, but it did the job. One of the things I like to do with my collage tissues is to actually redraw over them as well, so you can see how much blacker that now looks. I also like to put in the whites of the eyes and the catch-alls again, and you can sort of just see that image now come to life on the page a little bit. Our eyes like to read eyes to make faces, so if you make them really obvious on your page, it really sort of catches your attention. Around the windows, I'm just again using Stabilo Oil pencil and sort of just putting a little bit of an edge around it. This is going to help it sort of pop out from the background a little bit, and I'm just water activating it to get that little bit of a sort of grungy shadow, I suppose, around the edges, because they're beautiful windows. So, you know, but everything else is quite drippy and rusticy, so I decided I'd sort of blend it in. The other thing I decided to do as well was just to a little bit water activate around the outside of my collage tissue to again pop it out from the background, and I'm using some of the rouge on her cheeks again just to sort of boost that colour. So you can see I was still desperate to put some of that blue on, so I'm going back now and sort of spraying on the background. You can see now it's dried a little bit. I'm getting a better impression, but it's sort of just sank into the background again. So patience, that's what I say, patience. Have patience. So I decided I wanted to put some words on this. I really wanted to put spill. Didn't quite fit in, but I thought, oh no, I'm just going to go for it. And this is where I was a little bit heavy-handed. Now, when you're doing sprays, particularly sprays through stencils, you do need to do 1 or 2 sprays lightly. I thought I cleaned off my stencil enough that I could sort of put it over the top and redo it again, but again, I just put even more down and it just turned into a soggy mess. So the good thing about acrylic sprays and acrylic paints is once they are dry, they are permanent. So while they're still wet, particularly if you've got layers underneath them, you can wipe them away. So now I'm going in with the Sky paint. So I was using the Sky spray, but I didn't clean my stencil because it's Niamh and she doesn't, and it was still a bit wet. So you can see I've actually cleaned it properly and cleaned the back. So I still don't have a very strong image. So I decided I'd go in with a contrasting colour. Again, going back to colours I've used before, so I'm using the magenta paint so I can get a really strong impression. So I actually really liked it. Now it's got that drop shadow with the blue in the background. You know, it wasn't how I imagined it, but it worked in the end, so I'm keeping that one. You'll notice throughout this I'm repeating the colours. So, you know, I chose the magenta, not a brand new colour because I had used the magenta in the background. I chose the sky blue because it's something I'd used in the background. You know, the eyes have got the blue in it, the cheeks have got the pink in it. So there's lots of repetition on the page, which helps tie it all together. The final thing I decided to do was to put some words into the window, which has got, "We rise by lifting others," which I really loved too. I was going to put on the other "Everyone is welcome," and I decided not to. I thought I just had a little bit, oh no, I did. I decided just to stamp it straight onto the page. I don't stamp into this journal very often, just straight onto the page. And the reason for that is it's quite textured paper, but in this instance it actually sort of worked out quite well, and it just gave that little bit of impression in the background. So here you can see all the layers of gloss sprays, those beautiful new colours shining through, and how they all sort of mix and marble together, which I really love. You can see that strong contrast of that sky blue over the top of those warm colours. Just gives you that beautiful opposites happening. And this is a close-up of the finished page and some of the new sprays that I've used on it. So check out the description box below. You'll find a link to Ranger to see some of the new products that have been released. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe. We have lots and lots of cool stuff for you to enjoy. Until next time, bye for now.